All right, guys, thanks for clicking on this video. If you're a subscriber of mine, or if this showed up in your feed and you're like, what in the heck is a Pokemon video showing up in my feed for? It's because usually my channel focuses on firearm content for the most part. Probably 60-70% of my videos are firearm reviews, desktop reviews, mostly things like that. Now, I've also got a few videos that have done really well on camping, some on a camper shell build out that I did on my Toyota Tundra truck here a few years ago, some camping equipment reviews, things like that. So this video is a little different, as you can guess by the title. This video is about Pokemon, in particular Pokemon cards. I'm in my mid-50s, and 3 months ago, middle of March, sometime in there, I knew what a Pokemon card was, and I knew it was some sort of a game that, I thought mostly kids would play, to be honest with you. And that was about the extent of it. I had been in, over the years, I'd seen the Pokemon displays kind of next to the Magic the Gathering displays at stores, next to all the sport cards and things like that. And, this video is kind of talking about my journey, I guess is what you would call it. This is one of my musing videos. If you look at the channel name Hillbilly Musings, musing is just basically sitting around and just telling what your thoughts are. So I wanted to do this video today to kind of, I don't know if I'm going to have 2 views on it or 200 views or something like that. But yeah, do me a favor though, obviously like the video, click the thumbs up, drop in a comment, that really helps. And again, I apologize to my firearm guys if you're expecting a nice firearm review this time around. I'm definitely still doing content like that. My love for firearms is still there. Of course, it always will be. That's something that's been with me all my life. But in today's chaos in the world and stuff, sometimes it's nice to take a break when you find something else that will bring you joy, so to speak, something that you enjoy doing. And I will tell you, these last few months, getting into this hobby has been pretty darn fun, so it's kind of getting bored a little bit. I'm still, doing a lot of firearm trading and, things like that. And I still enjoy all my firearms. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, yes, I have sold a few of them to help finance this hobby. Nothing comes cheap anymore, and this is not a real expensive hobby, but you can spend some money pretty quick in it once you get into it. But today, again, though, I just really wanted to talk about it a little bit. So, I guess I'll start with what got me started in Pokemon. Like I said previously, I'd seen them before around, things like that and everything. Well, I was clicking through TikTok and some YouTube videos, and, I saw some of these crazy fights at Costco with these guys wanting to get these Pokemon cards. And, like most people have seen those videos, I was like, oh my gosh, these are adults fighting over these things and stuff like that. What's the big deal? Why are people just going nuts like that for them? And it made me a little bit curious about it, So my wife has a couple of booths at an antique mall and whatnot, and she's a reseller, and so we're always hitting estate sales, yard sales, things like that. And I've seen Pokemon cards pop up now and again. I always just dismissed them because I didn't really know anything about them. Still don't really. But one of the people in the place where we have one of our booths has a sporting card Pokemon card booth, and I've looked at the Pokemon cards there before, and the sport cards. Back in my youth, I did collect sport cards for a brief time period, maybe like a year or so. I remember opening the old Topps, the wax green packs, like in the mid '80s probably. I remember getting all excited because I pulled a Mike Schmidt one time from one of those, and I actually liked the gum they used to put in those things too. But yeah, with that guy's booth next to my wife's, I would go over there sometimes and just look at what he had. And this is kind of interesting stuff, looking at it, because I could tell, it's definitely a very detailed hobby, when you look at all the different details and stuff like that that you might have on the cards and everything. And I'm trying to zoom in here to kind of show you, what all you might see printed on a card. So yeah, you know, it kind of fascinated me. So I actually bought a card from him. I bought a graded card. I'll show it to you later on, but it's a graded Seadra card, and we'll go into more in that about that and everything, because I want this video to kind of be something about my story. And if there's any new Pokemon collectors out there, you know, maybe this will help too. You know, because it can be confusing at first, all the lingo, things like that are used. It can get kind of confusing pretty quick. So, and there's some good videos out there, and I'm gonna give some recommendations for videos to watch. You know, I will say this probably, and I'm gonna tag this guy's channel in the comments on this, or maybe not in the comments, in the description of it. Probably the best channel I found to recommend to help people getting started is a guy named Sleeve No Pocket Behind is the name of his channel. He has some really good introduction to Pokemon videos talking about the different aspects of stuff like that, kind of like what I'm going to talk about a little bit here. But I'll tell you right now, let's get something out of the way, and I can tell you what he means by Sleeve No Card Behind. Well, the first thing you want to do when you get a good Pokemon card, you want to protect it. So it'll come out of the pack like this. You know, it's just a card. You know, people always, you know, one of the things about Pokemon cards that makes them so valuable, a lot of it is condition. You want that card to be a nice, pristine condition. This one's pretty good shape. You know, you can look at the surface of it. I know there's a couple little marks right there and stuff like that and everything, but condition is everything. So what happens with most guys when they're ripping a pack, so to speak, and we'll talk about that in a minute, you get a card that's a good card, you want to take it and put it in a penny sleeve. And this is a penny sleeve. It's just basically a little plastic sleeve like this, and you kind of slide it open, put the card inside it. And that gives you some reasonable protection from it, you know, from damaging the edges and stuff like that. Now, of course, if you fold it or, you know, bend it or something like that, that's not going to give you real heavy level protection. But yeah, this guy's channel name is Sleeve No Card Behind, which is a pretty careful, pretty neat little play on words, because it's talking about, you know, it's one of the things he talks about is the importance of taking care of your cards and making sure that they're put in these sleeves, these penny sleeves. But yeah, so this is just basically his channel is good. I mean, he talks about some about the history of Pokemon. You know, they came out actually in the mid 90s. I think 96 was the official release date when they came out in Japan. And some of the Japan ones here, let me grab one real quick. I'll show them to you. This is the first card I ever got, to jump backwards a little bit. And a lot of people won't say, hey, you know what, a graded card for your first card. But yeah, this is actually the first card I purchased. I think it was about 30 bucks or so from this guy's booth, because I just thought it was fascinating, because a lot of the sport cards were sent for PSA grading. And we'll talk about grading here in a second, but I just want to show you that real quick because I mentioned it previously. But yeah, these are a couple of older cards. This particular one is 96. And I believe this one is the same year. Now, this, I think, is an old vending machine card. So this is something that would have, like, you would get these out of a little vending machine in Japan, which, of course, are where these originated. Of course, I don't read Japanese. I don't know what a lot of this says and everything, but this is actually a Seadra as well, just like that other card I showed you. But this is where the first cards came along that people kind of recognize today. This is a 1996 Japanese Squirtle, which is one of the Pokemon characters. And, you know, it actually took me about a week after getting in the hobby before I realized where Pokemon comes from. Pocket Monsters card game. That's what it was originally called. It's Pokemon. But yeah, this is one of the earlier cards. They came out in Japan, you know, mid-90s, 95, 96 were real popular there. The first release in the States came along in 99, and I believe this is one of those ones from the first release. Yeah, and you'll learn stuff like this. You know, you can, the good thing about these cards is that pretty much all the cards will always have some type of number on the bottom. See where it says 57 of 102 right there? That means you can pretty much just Google that number, Pokemon and 57/102, and it'll tell you about this card. It'll tell you, you know, there'll be various websites like TCG Player or things like that that you can kind of tell everything that there is about this card. Now, do you have to know all that? No. when I first started collecting, and I'm still probably at least half of the cards I buy are for this reason. I bought a card because I picked it up and I said, oh man, that looks cool. I want that one. You know, that's kind of how it went for the first month or so. You know, I was buying a lot of individual cards, and that's a question that a lot of people have sometimes is, you know, should you buy packs and rip them or individual cards? Now, if you're asking now at this point, what's a pack and what is ripping it? Let me show you. So this is a pack of cards. This is like what you'll usually see. It says 10 additional cards. There's actually 11 cards in here because there's a code card. And maybe, I don't know if they count the energy card or not, but this is just basically a package of Pokemon cards, right? So we're going to diverge a little bit. This video is not, of course, I didn't script this out or anything. I'm just rambling, musing along. The problem right now, this video is being shot in June of 2025. My dog's probably chiming in downstairs if you can hear. But I started this hobby in March of 2025, and the problem right now is being able to find these. Gosh, last year, as recently as the last quarter 2024, you could go into like Target, Walmart, wherever, and there'd be all kinds of cards. But right now, they are hard to find. Now, hopefully that's something that's going to iron out over time. I don't know for sure. But, you know, you have to kind of jump around and go different places and try to find them. Or you have another option, and that's going to local card shops. Now, here's the thing about card shops and a lot of buying them on Facebook and stuff. I want to introduce you to a term called scalping, which is kind of a derogatory term. But basically, they're just doing kind of what like a lot of card shops are doing nowadays, too. This little retail package of cards is like $4.49 MSRP, $5, something, somewhere right in there. It's very hard to buy right now on MSRP. Sometimes you can get lucky. You can find them in stock at Walmart or some of the Pokemon vending machines that are everywhere. But you can go to a local trading card shop, and just about every card that sells sport cards are going to have Pokemon cards. And some of the shops even specialize in nothing but Pokemon. And you can buy this for probably, this is Paradox Rift, which means it's one of the expansions from the Scarlet and Violet. We'll talk more about that in a second. But yeah, you can probably buy this for anywhere from $7 to $9 or so. So you're going to pay an upcharge, but you can get it. It's just a matter if you're wanting to pay that upcharge. Now, I don't mind at all supporting local card shops. These guys are businesses. They're out there trying to make money. They've got to cover overhead, employees, and all that stuff and everything. Scalping is another thing that is kind of a lot of people saying, oh, it's ruined the hobby, and it has made it difficult for people because people have caught on, and that's what kind of caused a lot of those Costco videos that you saw in other videos of people waiting for hours and fighting over Pokemon cards. We're talking like grown men and everything, acting like babies, to put it simply. But they realize, hey, you know what? I can buy this for $4.50 and I can sell it for $10. You know, if it's a newer one, I can sell it for $12 or $15. And it applies all the way across the board, whether you're buying cards or you might be buying something like this, which is a booster bundle of cards, which has 6 packs of cards in it. Or you might be buying something like what they call an ETB, which is an Elite Trainer box, which usually has 9 to 11 packs of cards and has some other goodies with it. People are buying these things up like crazy, and they're just marking it up to make a quick buck. Now, this is the United States. You know, I'm all about free trade and everything. The thing is, you have the choice. If you want to buy from that scalper or not. Or if you want to run all over the place trying to find it yourself, that's fine. If you want to go to your local card shop, I personally recommend, if I'm going to be paying scalper prices, what they call market prices, I'd rather give it to a local card shop, especially if it's someone that is friendly to me and provided good service and things like that. But now, diverging back to where we went, this is a card. This is what they call a booster pack. So when people talk about ripping cards, it basically means that's what they do, is they take this card and they rip it. And you try not to do it without spilling stuff all behind you, which I just did, but that's okay. You rip it open. You rip it carefully open. Now, often if I'm ripping several, I'll just have some scissors and just cut off the top so it's nice and neat. And then you get a little stack of cards. Now, you'll see a lot of people when they're ripping cards, they're going to do some little things. Now, the back card in this newest generation, which is called Scarlet and Violet, is always going to be one of these. It's like a little, Oh, this is like a little code card. You can get an app and redeem this and get like little things in the game. I tried doing it because I've got thousands of these now. And yeah, I just didn't really do it. So you'll see people doing these ripping cards on all kinds of YouTube and TikTok channels and whatnot. And they'll always show you this. And the reason is so it gives a person an opportunity to get this code and redeem it for stuff. I don't do it. And another thing you'll see people have to do that is they'll take this back card and put it on the front on the newer packs. Now, the reason they do that is because that puts the best card, which is usually one of the back ones, towards the back. And then your front card, which it was on the back, is an energy card, which there's nothing special about these. And then they'll take this energy card, you know, and then you just go through the pack kind of and you see what you have. So, you know, we'll just run through this one real quick. This is not going to be, this is just for the people who are brand new, and to, you just go through and see what your cards you got. Wiglet, Drotty, Nachi. You get trainer cards like this, Parasoletti. I don't play the game, but I know I don't understand fully how the all operations works. I just collect these for the cards, but there's always some trainer cards in here. Energy cards. We got Screamtail. We've got another trainer. And I just really, when I'm opening packs by myself, I go through these really slow and just really appreciate some of the artwork they've done on this. You know, it's just really cool. And they always give credit to the artists on here somewhere too. And they have like little height and weight things and stuff like that for them. It's just kind of cool. Okay, so when you get towards the back, you'll get a card like this sometimes. This is what it's kind of hard to show on video, but this is what they call a reverse holo. So even though you can't really see it, this area in here is what they call holographic. So it's kind of shiny, reflective. And again, it's not showing up very well in the video, but in person, you can see how this is kind of refracted light a little bit. We got one holo, this is a reverse holo because this is shiny and this is not. It's a regular holo, this part up here is shiny, and I'll show you one here in a second. We got another reverse holo. In this case, we got just a regular holographic card. And the regular holographic cards, when I first started, I had a hard time sometimes determining. You can always tell the regular holos because they're shiny around the edges, all the way around the edges like this. And then you can see that this one's shiny up in here in the actual artwork itself. This one is shiny in the other parts of the card except for the artwork. So this is a reverse holo. This is a regular holo. And that's all short for holographic. So basically, I would call this pack a dud. No hits, so to speak. And most people will usually call a hit when they get a card that's, you know, nicer than average type thing. Now, one thing I will show you too, which I should have done that before I put these cards over here. Let me grab some of these back. Sleeve No Pocket Behind will tell you more detail about this, but you can tell on a lot of these cards, there's little clues, okay? So down here in the bottom left on these, you see how it has a little black diamond right here? That means this is a semi-rare card. Both of these are semi-rare card. Okay, even though it's not holo or anything, it's semi-rare. These two cards, these are those reverse holos. One of them is a semi-rare, and one of them is just a common card. Actually, it's called, not semi-rare, uncommon. Round is common, diamond is uncommon. And then you get these, which are a star. And a star means it's a rare card. Now, sometimes you will get even prettier cards. And those are the ones that people really, really like. They like them a lot so much that they chase them. And that's the introductory to the term of a chase card. So a chase card is sometimes when you get a set, like if you remember right, this package we just opened was called Paradox Rift. You can go in and Google Paradox Rift chase cards, C-H-A-S-E, and it'll tell you the most valuable cards from the pack. And those are the cards that people chase. In other words, the cards they want to get. This card is called a full art card. This is actually a couple of different. It's a full art card because, can you guess why? Because the artwork takes up the whole card. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some people saying, "Oh, that's not a full art," or such and such for reasons. But anyway, I call it full art. This card is also what they call a promo card, because you see this little black star right here, says promo. Then it has like an SW number, which some of the promo cards usually, sometimes they'll have regular numbers, and sometimes they'll have characters in there too. But a promo card is something like, if you buy this box of 3 different cards, you'll get this special card with it, promotional card. But this card is commonly what I would call like a full art card. Okay. And again, I'm just trying to teach you some of this basic lingo. This card is a newer full art card. This card is actually from Destined Rivals. This is the set that just came out here a few weeks or a month ago, probably. This card is a full art card. And also, I think this is what they call a special illustration rare, an SIR, because it shows them in a different environment, like actually out in the wild, for example, whereas this one is just a fancy picture of Pikachu, which happens to be one of my favorite guys, actually. But they call this like a SIR, special illustration rare. And you can see on this one, the little star is actually silver. So that means it's a little more special. And you see how the number is 186 over 182? That means this is a secret rare because it's not in the regular catalog. And then, of course, you know, you've got the DRI, which means it's Destined Rivals. And there's a little credit to the illustrator guy. Or female, rather. I don't know who this one is, a male or female. But anyway, this is just a cool little card. This is a modern full art card. Let me pull this out of the package here. I'm going to take it out of the protective sleeve. Don't anybody capture some of this card in here without the sleeve on it. And again, this is hard to show on the camera, but this card is just really, really pretty. Really pretty how they do the printing on it and stuff like that and everything. We'll put it back in the sleeve here. Okay. This is a promo card. I'm just showing you card examples right now. This one is actually how a lot of the promo cards usually come, like in an ETB, an Elite Trainer box, or bundle rather. They'll be packaged like this. This is just a regular hollow foil card, and just kind of showing you some different examples here. But it can be so confusing. You know, I'm like a lot of you guys, I was so confused when I started and everything. I don't expect to learn everything at once because it's hard to really keep up with all the lingo and everything. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is that these cards are raw cards, or what they call them. What does it mean by raw? It means it's not graded. So it's just the card, just like you pull out of the pack. You know, maybe you put in a penny sleeve or something along those lines, a raw card. This card is a graded card. Okay, so what this card is doing is this card is kind of showing you, this card has actually been sent to PSA, which is one of the biggest graders. It seems to be the grading company that most of the collectors prefer. But you send the card into PSA, and what they do is they take a look at it. They'll go through it. They'll examine the card. They'll look at the centering, which the centering means how well it's centered on these blue edges. You know, sometimes it's shifted real bad one way or the other. You can see this one is a little tiny bit bigger up at top than it is at bottom. And kind of the same, this left side's a little bit bigger than the right. You know, I think they give you a certain percentage of centering on the back, and then they look for center in the front, then any little dents or dings or whatnot that might be on the card, and they'll issue a grade toward it. In this case, this is a 10, which is the highest rating that you can get, and they also put a number on here, which in this case, this is the PSA number, so you could actually look up this number online on their website, and they'll say, okay, yeah, that's for this 2024 Bruxish card. This particular card, this JP, means this Japanese card. Tell that by the writing, and then the Japanese cards in the back look a little bit different than the back of the English cards. See that? I think the Japanese cards probably have an edge because the centering, since it's a fuzzy, a blended line, it's harder to tell when they're off center on the back. But yeah, that's kind of like a graded card. That's what you'll see, and you'll hear that a lot. You'll hear raw or slabbed. A lot of times they call graded cards slab cards. They say, well, do you have a PSA 10 and such, or do you have such and such and such and such? This other card we looked at earlier, this Japanese card from '96, you can see that was a PSA 9. And there's different companies that do grading. This particular card is graded by CGC. certified guarantee company. This is what they call a Gem Mint 10. CGC, I think, is maybe a little bit more critical. When CGC issues a 10, they have one called Pristine 10, which is the utmost, the highest level 10, or you have a Gem Mint 10 like this one. But the same way, you can scan in the QR code and go verify the authenticity on a website. And when they grade the card, they'll put it in these sealed slabs, is what they call it. These little grading card holders. Grading guarantees the authenticity of it and also tells you what condition it is. Now, most collectors, I'll be the first to tell you, they really chase after the 10s because they want everybody wants the best, and the 10 is obviously the best to them. The problems you'll find is that on a lot of the older cards, like this one, for example, I'll keep on pulling out this poor little War Turtle, or this Seadra, for example. This is an English card. See, this one is an 8. A lot of these older cards, back in '99, people didn't know if this was going to be collectible or not. So these kids did what they're supposed to do with these cards. They played with them. And so that's why it's harder to find some of those older cards in the better condition. This is an older card. This is the 99 model, or from 1999. I don't remember what set it is, but this one is actually in pretty good shape. Someone took care of it. Maybe someday I'll send this off for grading and we'll see what it'll get. Why do you have it graded? The options I just said: guarantee the authenticity, know what condition it's in, and sometimes, like if you have a card, see, this card's a graded 10. So for example, what I'll do is I'll post in a screenshot right now showing what a graded 10 in this card is worth versus a screenshot showing ungraded is worth. Now, sometimes the ungraded ones are worth more unless it's a 10. Like I've got some cards where the ungraded card might be worth $300, and then if it's a graded 8, it's only worth $200, because what the grading does, it tells you that this card is not really worth $400 because it's not good enough shape. It's the $400 valuation might be based upon it being a Gem Mint card, which is what this GMMT stands for up here, Gem Mint. It's what everybody wants. So it's all about condition to a lot of these card collectors, guys. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump on. I think I've kind of shown you the basics here, about kind of what it's all about. And like I said, don't try to know it all at once. My recommendation is, when you're getting started in it, man, just buy what you think is cool. Kind of look at it. But that's it, y'all. I just wanted to basically share with you what my 3 months has been about. A few more things I want to touch on real quick. I mentioned earlier an app. I use an app called Collector, which is spelled just like it sounds, except the last O is missing. So COLLECTR. It's free to use. You can pay for it like $3 or $4 a month, which is what I do. But I'll drop in a screenshot here that kind of shows the total value of my collection right now. But these apps are kind of cool because you can look at a card, which I'll drop in another example here to show you a particular card I'm looking at, and you can see kind of the trend on that card. So what the app does is it looks at sold listings, mostly on eBay, and it kind of, like if you have a particular card, for example, we'll take this card in particular. We'll pull it up on the Collector app. This is a Japanese Mr. Mime card, CGC graded Gem Mint 10. And we'll look up and I'll show you some screenshots of the examples and how this is the value of this card. And you can look back over several months or up to a year, I think. And the way that works is when you do like your whole collection value, it looks at the current value of all those cards. And this is why it's enticing to collectors, because it's almost like the stock market sometimes. You get a card and it'll go up and down sometimes. And when you want to buy it when it's down, and then you want to take it and sell it when it's up. It's pretty simple. But it can be complex, of course, too. Like when a card is brand new and it first comes out, like this is not one, but say this is one of those Dust and Rival sets or something like that. They're real expensive because there's so few of them out there. But then once they start becoming more and more in the market, that value on some of those cards can plummet. But then there's also steadfast, cards that kind of stay around the same value. Maybe they'll go up a little bit, maybe they'll go down a little bit. But Collector is essential if you want to know the value of your collection. And it lets you know if you have a card. You're in a card store, you see a card, you're like, man, this is a cool Charmander card. I don't know if I have it. Well, you can just look in your collector app, and if you've logged everything like you should, it'll tell if you have it. So that's the one I recommend. There's several of them out there, of course, though. You can take your pick on which one to use and whatnot and everything. So, but yeah, guys, that's it. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about my Pokemon journey. If you have any questions, drop them in down there. This video was way longer than I wanted it to be, but oh well. As long as I get a few views on it and a couple of thumbs up, I'll be good. Thanks for watching, guys.